I'd like to welcome all of you to the Analytics Accelerator Certification live webinar on the 11th of November 2017. And it's going to be a really exciting session. We'll learn about the different kinds of analytics. We'll get to see some demos. And we've got a question and answer when we'll answer all your questions about analytics. Now, before we go ahead, I hope all of you have had a chance to look at the website and specifically the Analytics Accelerator certification link, right? And I'm sharing that with all of you again over here in the chat box. Please click this link so you can see the program anytime when you're free. Now, before I kick off, I want to share a couple of other details with you. You will see that we have a Facebook page, right? And it's equiskill.com. On Facebook is facebook.com/equiskill. We're actually rated on this page by all our learners, and you will see that we've been rated 4.9 out of 5 by 27 reviewers who have gone through our programs. We actually have a lot of events that we list on this particular Facebook page. So you may want to actually like the Facebook page so you get all of these details, okay? And I'm sharing that link with all of you right now. So you can go ahead and actually like this particular Facebook page. Okay, moving ahead, right? We have over here a couple of things I wanted to share. We are available on Quora as well, right? And this is my profile on Quora.com. So please feel free to follow us on Quora.com. I blog a lot on analytics. Specifically, you'll see my blogs on analytics on Quora.com over here at this particular link. And you will see that in analytics, we are rated world number 6 currently on the most viewed writers on Quora.com. So there you'll see me over there on Quora, right? Okay, so those are a couple of social media handles that I wanted to share across with all of you. And it would be great if you can actually follow us on those particular handles, right? Okay, I'm going to go back to the presentation. Here we go. So very quickly, we started off in the year 2015 with the vision that we want to help each and every learner draw insights from the vast amounts of data that is actually available to them, right? Our courses are taught by real analytics professionals working in the corporate sector, as opposed to being taught by trainers. The faculty has 2 decades of experience at large companies, which you can see over here, right? Okay, and moving ahead from there, these are some of the companies where we've actually trained, that you can see over here. We've trained hundreds of professionals across all of the companies that you see on your screen right now. Okay. And I would want to introduce myself a little bit, right? Just a second here while I pull up that.
Guys, sincere apologies. I think we'll just take 2 more minutes to start again. I think there is some technical glitch. Please hold on tight. We're just starting in another 2 minutes. Yeah. In the meanwhile, as the PPT comes up and while Amit joins back, I would also like to introduce myself to all of you. My name is Ujjwal Dalmia. I'm working with one of the top banks right now as a senior manager in commercial analytics division. My roles and responsibilities are primarily around making sure that we deliver on analytics projects. Now, the reason I'm associated with EquiSkill is because I love to share what I know. So that's primarily the passion which drives me, and that's how here I am, making sure that whatever knowledge of analytics I have, I can share with all of you and make sure that you guys scale up to the level where you can go into the industry and start performing on analytics. So that's the basic objective. Any questions on that from anybody? One thing which I would like to mention, and I believe Amit also mentioned it a while back, the more interactive we'll make this session to be, the more learning we'll get out of this session. So even small responses like yes or no will really help. So any questions, guys? Any questions if you have?
Not at the moment.
Oh.
Thank you for the introduction.
Thanks a lot. Perfect.
So thank you so much, Ujjwal, for your introduction there. And I'm back, and let me just go ahead and share my screen again with everyone. Just give me a second here. There we go. Okay. So can everyone see my screen? Please say yes in the chat box if you can. Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, everyone, for your response. So, folks, I'm Amit Upadhyay, and I've been the Vice President of Analytics for the Citibank. I've actually worked with the General Electric company in the IoT team, and I've worked with the fraud analytics team, being closely associated with the fraud team at Amazon.com. I'm a computer engineer and an MBA, and I've been in analytics now for the better part of 5 years. I'm really excited by this field, and as you can all see here, you can hopefully also see Ujjwal, right? And Ujjwal's details are all available here. He just spoke about his profile, but I have a lot of respect for what Ujjwal does. I think he's one of the best, collaborators and instructors in analytics that we have on board with us from ISB and HSBC Corporate Banking Analytics. You know which companies we've trained for, and this is why we are here today, right? Folks, the reason why we're all here today is the data explosion. If you look at it, every 2 years, data is doubling on this planet, right? And so today, the amount of data we have in 2017 is twice the amount of data that we had in 2015. But it's not all numerical data. It's also images that you have, posted on Pinterest. It's also tweets that you have on Twitter.com, right? So you have numerical as well as non-numerical or text data. You have images, you have videos. How do we make sense of all of this? Using analytics. And that's the reason why analytics today is number 2 in the US and North America in the skills that are hottest skills, right? And it's number 5 in India. It's also in the top 5 in London and the UK. And we've got learners from the Middle East who actually join up in this course. You might think for a minute here that Facebook and LinkedIn are professional networking companies and personal or social networking companies. But the reality, folks, is that today everyone is into data. Data is the business that all of these companies are into. Data is the new oil. Data is the new soil. It used to be companies like Chevron, Enron, Mobil in the 80s, the oil companies that were ruling the roost in the world. But today it's all the data companies that are ruling the roost. Now, I want to start out here and get some interactivity going, okay? From all of you, right? So Anirban, Animesh, Atul, Howard, all of you, right? I want you to tell me, what are the different kinds of analytics that you've heard of, okay? Let me give you an example, big data analytics. And I'm going to type this out in the chat box. Now, all of you type out, if you've ever heard the word analytics along with anything, right? Can you please type it and tell me what are the different kinds of analytics? Okay, so Anirban says Google Analytics, Wasim says descriptive, Dharminder says prescriptive, Atul says business analytics, text analytics, Rizal, thank you, Arul, Wasim, Shrini, absolutely, right? And I want all of you to pitch in, guys. The only thing better than the right answer is the wrong answer, right? And your interactivity makes online learning tremendous fun, okay? So I'm not talking about the tools, I'm talking about the types of analytics. Tools come and go, but fundamentally there's only 3 kinds of analytics, right? Okay, and some of you have got it, right? Thanks, Amit Singh, for your response. The 3 types of analytics is where I want to start this webinar. Folks, if you're the CEO of the company, on a daily basis, one of the biggest challenges that you face is you don't even know what is going on in your business, right? Did the sales go up or down last month? Did the profit go up or down last month, right? And that's the question you keep asking people around you if you're running a company. What's going on in the business? And the moment you try to answer this question, which is what is going on in the business, what you're doing is known as descriptive analytics. You're describing what's going on in the business. Usually, you're describing what's going on in the business in hindsight. And therefore, you see the word hindsight mentioned over here. Now, if I am the CEO of the company, and it's a very common sense question that I have for you, and I tell my CEO that last month profits actually went down by 10%. Okay. The moment I tell you what's going on in the business, which is that the profit went down by 10%, you're going to ask a question right away if you're the CEO of the company. And it's a question that is only 3 letters of the alphabet. Can you tell me what that question would be? Come on, take a guess. And Howard, you're absolutely right. Shiva, Muniba, Wasim, you're absolutely right. Your next question is going to be, why did the profit go down by 10%? And the moment you ask that question, ladies and gentlemen, what you're asking for is insight. You're no longer asking for hindsight. You know it happened the way it happened, but you're asking for insight. So you're trying to predict why sales went down. And hopefully, if you can predict this quantitatively by using certain techniques, which are called predictive analytics techniques, you can hopefully forecast it and you can model it and you can be ready to face this eventuality in the future. But when you run a business, even more important than what happened and why it happened is the next question that the CEO asks. And it's a 3-letter word, and it's about the future, and it starts with H. And what is that word? You got it, right? How do we proceed in the future? Guys, you're absolutely right. Atul, Dharmender, Shiva, Wasim, Chandan, Muniba, you're absolutely Howard. So it's all about, okay, this is all great, but how do we proceed in the months that's going to come so that we don't make this loss again? Can we make some offers? Can we offer some discounts? So what you're trying to do is have some foresight. You're trying to prescribe how you can run this business in the time that's about to come. And for this, you use techniques which are called prescriptive analytic techniques. Machine learning, dynamic utilization are some of them. And I'm sure you've heard of deep learning. That's really fashionable these days. Now, I want to clear one myth right away. You all now understand that you have descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive analytics, which roughly correspond to what, why, and how of a business. But the reality is today that when you look at analytics, I would say close to 70% of analytics going on is first about creating the dashboards, the reports, the alerts, when things are not going the way they should. 70% of the work across the globe is that. And I would say there's an overlap, but you'd probably say around 30% of the work is predictive and prescriptive analytics. But if you look at the interest globally, everyone wants to learn deep learning and machine learning. So, the interest is almost the other way around. So it's almost like 80% of the people just want to start out their lives by waking up and doing deep learning and machine learning, and probably a humble 20% decide that, it's probably okay to also help the business to understand what's actually going on, right? So where I need help from everyone is to understand that the industry is not just about predictive and prescriptive, it is also about descriptive analytics. And here I want to flip it over to Ujjwal for a quick second to talk about this slide and tell me what I may have missed in this slide just to make it more interesting. So Ujjwal, I'm just...
Sure. Thanks a lot, Amit. In fact, guys, I think Amit mentioned a ratio that is 70 or 30. I would say if I would have been taking this webinar an year back, I would have mentioned this ratio to be around 90 and 10. The industry is changing. Indian market is changing. There is more acceptability towards higher order analytics like predictive and prescriptive, and that's why I'm saying that a year back, where 90% of the work was going on the descriptive side of the world and only 10% being on the prescriptive or predictive side, now the ratios have changed. 70% of this work is still reporting or information generation, but 30% is towards predictive and prescriptive. And how this ratio has changed? By a lot of things like automation, making automated systems run canned reports, making sure that the information goes out on its own. You enable the end user to generate their own reports so that you can generate capacity for yourself. And with that excessive capacity which you have generated, you really start doing advanced stuff like predictive or prescriptive analytics. you know uh, Amit, over back to you. We can continue now.
All right, thanks a ton. So I hope that helped all of us. Glad to see a couple of you who've joined up just now. So I just want to reiterate that this entire session is being recorded. At the end of the session, I'm going to request you for your email IDs so that we give you the recording of the webinar, the data, the installation instructions, and a special discount code to the Analytics Accelerator certification. So please hang around, and I'm going to move ahead now, right? If you look at it, there's a lot of applications of analytics out there, and I want to talk about some of them here today in the class. Let's talk about upselling and cross-selling modeling, right? Which is one of the things we do in analytics. So what is upselling? I have an American Express credit card, and let's say for a second that it's a silver credit card of American Express. I earn a promotion and my income goes up by, let's say, 30%. It's a great year. Things are going great. I now can afford a lot more than I used to in the past. If you're American Express and you want to sell me something, you already know I have the silver credit card. What would you try to sell me if you knew that I now earn a lot of more money? Okay. Please put your responses in the chat box, folks. I love your interactivity. Okay. Muniba says the gold card. Okay. Let's keep going. How about everybody else? Yeah. Take a guess, folks. You're absolutely right, Muniba. Shini, you're right. The platinum card. Okay. Now, suppose. Okay. So, Ujjwal, do you want to add something here?
Absolutely, Amit.
Yeah.
So I think, guys, one of the most, Amit, I think you need to mute yourself. Yeah, thanks a lot for that. So guys, you can see a lot of analytics words out here, and one thing which I really want to mention in here is about the domain. Okay, and I really wanted to talk about it at this point itself when we are talking about upsell and cross-sell opportunities. Domain plays a very important role when it comes to analytics, and and just to give an example of what I have been doing at my workplace, we've been trying to identify a lot of upsell cross-sell opportunities with respect to foreign exchange. Now, if a person doesn't really know how foreign exchange currencies work and what kind of revenue generation happens out of that, no matter what all analytical tools or techniques you understand, you really can't make use of them until unless you know that how exactly the FX business runs. One of the very basic examples is that the moment you know that there is an import or export happening, there is going to be a cross currency or a cross border payment which might happen, wherein foreign exchange would be required, and that's where a further cross sell or upsell foreign exchange opportunity is going to be. Now, if I know that very basic business understanding, I know I really don't need any analytical tool to find out the upsell cross-sell opportunity. But the moment I'm not aware of any such business logic, I know I'll keep on running around the bush and will really not get any answer to my problem. So guys, of whatever techniques we will try and teach through this particular course, it's very important for all of you to understand that business knowledge forms the foundation of analytics today. All right, yeah, back to you, Amit.
All right, thanks a ton there, Ujjwal. And all of you rightly answered that if I had the silver credit card, you'd try to sell me gold or platinum credit card. Now, if you're a financial company, okay, let's say, for example, you're, another kind of financial company that has a different product. You don't actually have a credit card, but you know that I just got a promotion and you discover that I already have a platinum credit card, which is the highest category of credit card. You can't even sell me a credit card. So what other financial product could you sell me apart from credit cards? Can you answer in the chat box, please? You got it. It could be a personal loan, right? It could be, insurance, and this is cross-selling. Now, if you see here, folks, there's a bunch of techniques. I want you all to spend some time and read about these techniques, but let me talk about them briefly. First of all, the domains. You see here the retail, right? The Walmarts. You see here, the banking and financial institutions like Capital One or Wells Fargo or Citibank. Over here you see, online retailing, and over here you see healthcare. You see telecom, which is the largest consumer of analytics globally, and Banks probably are the second largest. And finally, online and social, right? Now, all of these have a variety of techniques, analytical techniques that they use. To take you some of them, Amazon uses fraud prediction to make sure that they protect not just buyers, but sellers. So they have teams such as the buyer risk investigation team that employs analytics, as well as the merchant risk investigation team, which does merchant analytics, and so you see Amazon using that, to give you one example, right? When you look at product bundling, I know that if you buy a wireless mouse, I could give you a wireless keyboard. I know that intuitively, but if I'm, eBay or Amazon.com, there are close to millions of products selling on my website. How do I know which product, for example, product A, could I bundle it along with product B or product C or product D, or for example, product 1 million, which is, there's so many products out there. Which one can I bundle together and give people a bundled offering so that they're going to make that purchase? Now, we use analytics for this. We also use analytics for A/B testing. What is A/B testing? So in the Barack Obama re-election campaign, right, they used A/B testing. They composed many different emails that went out to the US electorate. Let me give you two of them. One of them said, the first one, would you like to contribute to the Democrat re-election campaign bid? And the second one said, I, Barack Obama, request your contribution to my re-election campaign bid. Now, if you were someone reading that email, which one would you donate for? Would you donate for email 1 or would you donate for email 2? Can you please all respond in the chat box? Everyone, right? Okay, keep going, folks, keep going, right? Now, this is how you do A/B testing. So when you check this out, you'll find a lot of people would prefer I, Barack Obama, right? A lot of people would prefer we, the Democrats. So how do you then cluster and segment? Now we're coming to another topic, right? And let me talk about it right here. It's clustering and segmentation. How do you cluster and segment people in the US voting population so that you can figure out who you should send the first email to and who you should send the second email to? And this was what Barack Obama's analytics team did, and it got close to $200 million worth of donations for his re-election campaign bid. One of the most successful re-election campaign bids run by an analytics person. You can unicast me later and I'll walk you through that. But that, folks, is the power of analytics, right? Now, in this course, you will learn a bunch of techniques. So you will learn clustering segmentation, you'll learn market basket analysis, which is the basis for the recommendation engine. You'll learn linear logistic regression, forecasting using ARIMA time series. All of it is going to be covered in the course, including, how to give a risk score, to someone basis logistic regression. Right, moving ahead, banks are huge consumers of analytics because, trust you me, the biggest competition for banks are not banks. The biggest competition for banks are things like PayPal or Paytm, right? They're going to display the banks. Now, hear me right, okay? You need banking. You don't need the bank. You don't actually need to walk the bank or go to the bank to get stuff done if it can all happen online, which is digital, and that's what you call digitization. The other piece is if it can happen on mobile, right? And that's all mobile analytics. But not just the banks or telecom. These days, even human resources and finance are huge consumers of analytics. So in 2013, the corporate executive board in the US figured out that 82% of business leaders did not trust their HR data. And even support functions like HR jumped into the fray. And what you see today, right, is very different, right? And all the CEOs that were unhappy with the state of analytics became much happier. And this is a survey of 1,260 CEOs by PricewaterhouseCoopers, and orange indicates the unhappy CEOs, right? And they all became much happier, right? Once they actually used analytics, 12% improvement happened in employee performance across a lot of Fortune 500 companies and 10% improvement in quality of hires. What do you need for analytics? So Ujjwal talked about something really important. You all learned about descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive analytics. Equally important is the Gartner report on the skills you need to acquire for analytics. Very important are the business skills, which Ujjwal talked about. You need to understand the domain, the language before you get there. Equally important are your ability on tools and techniques on data science, The techniques fall into the data science, the tools fall into the IT skills, and business skills are the domain knowledge, right? When you marry the three of these, you arrive at a balanced analytics professional. Anyone who focuses on courses that are too IT focused, for example, if you focus on a course that teaches you Spark, right? And if you think that's going to get you into the analytics world, it won't work, okay? Spark, or whether it be R, or whether it be Python, none of these are the solution, okay? The important thing is to know the techniques. For example, if I ask you the question, how do you figure out, using 20 variables or 25 variables that describe a customer, how do you figure out whether you should give them a loan or not? How do you assign a credit score to them? Now, the technique for this is logistic regression, okay? And that's the important thing you need to know, that if I give you a business problem, which technique is the correct technique to use for that problem? Now, coincidentally, as it so happens, you can use logistic regression in R, you can do it in Python, you can do it in SAS. That's not that important. What's important is to know the technique and how to apply the technique. And that's what analytics leaders across the industry value a lot. If you look at the wages, they can vary all the way from US $70,000 for the entry-level analyst that you see over here, right? All the way up to even $500,000, for people who lead, for example, the entire analytics setup, they can easily be making $500,000. So that's kind of like the wage variance, right? Now, the important thing is folks that are analysts, or senior analysts tend to focus on descriptive analytics as well. And it takes time before you can get out of that or, do less of that. You'll never get out of it, by the way. And start doing more of, predictive analytics work, or start managing a client as a manager, start managing a geography, start managing a product line on Amazon.com and the entire analytics around that. You may manage more than one product or more than one, geography as an AVP. As a VP, you may have entire responsibility, for a particular geography or a particular product line across the world. And as the SVP director or the chief data officer, you may head the entire analytics organization. Now, this is one representative, career path, which you see very often in the banking and analytics world, right? And there are many more, right? There are many more. So it's 15 plus years of total experience, not necessarily analytical experience, but naturally, the industry would prefer people who have more analytical experience. You can crack that if you are transitioning from testing, QA, ERP, finance to analytics. We have done it. We have made it happen for people, and we'll show you that in a short while. I think if you look at the feedback on Quora.com, you will realize that people from many walks of the industry have actually been able to transition to a different career in their own organization, right? Or they've actually been able to sort of move to a new organization. And I'm sharing that link over here on Quora so that you actually read through the feedback of some of the learners who we've helped them transition, right? Okay. Now, a little bit about the program before we move ahead and how this program is going to flow. You're invited complimentary to the next class of the program. Those who join the program will get immediate access to the presentations, the data, the video recordings of the last batch, and you'll be able to start your analytics learning journey today or tomorrow. Those who join later will get the access and the LMS access, when they join the program. Now, what's the flow like? The way your learning happens is today you're learning about the introduction to analytics, right? We're going to jump after that into visual analytics using Tableau, and we'll have a demo today. It is very different from data visualization, please understand, and I'll show you the difference in a short while when we run the demo. We will learn Power BI, MS BI, and why I've chosen these tools, for this certification in discussion, with Ujjwal is when you look at the Gartner report, and you should always, read about the Gartner report on analytics tools, right? How you decide which analytics to learn should not be based, just on what people are saying out there. It should be also, based on the Gartner report. And let me share this link with all of you right now. As you can see here in the Gartner report, and I'll just share this out with you. This is the Gartner report above that I put in the chat box for all of you. You can see that right on top, okay, of the report on visual analytics is Tableau, and Microsoft BI. And we've selected the top two tools, number one and number two tools for this particular certification. Similarly, if you look at it, R is the number one tool in data science. Both R and Python are excellent, but R right now for the data science and the business science community, R is definitely the choice of tool to go to, right? Okay, so that's a little introduction to Gartner. Let me just see if I can get the drawing board clear again so I can walk you through the course. So we will spend, 2 classes focusing on Tableau. We will spend 2 classes on Power BI and learn advanced visual analytics. And side by side, along with that, you will build foundations that you need in statistics, right? Now for the statistics foundations, I want to just quickly hand it over to Ujjwal to let you know what we cover in 3 classes of statistics. Ujjwal, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Amit. So guys, when we talk about statistics, we will start from the very scratch. One thing which I really want to mention is that even if you don't have any background on statistics, and even if you have not heard an S of statistics, trust me, you'll be starting from very scratch. You'll be understanding 2 major components of statistics, that is descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Uh, uh, we have a question from Muniba that is the statistics class a separate course or is it built into the analytics course? It's pretty much built into the analytics course, Muniba. So that's what I'm trying to explain. The first 3 sessions of the whole course is going to be around the basics of statistics, wherein you'll understand descriptive and inferential statistics both. In descriptive statistics, we'll be talking about the basics like mean, median, mode, the probability distributions, the normal distribution, the Poisson distributions of sorts. In the inferential statistics, we will try and talk about estimations and hypothesis testings, which really form the foundation of the advanced analytical techniques like linear regression. Okay, so that's the plan basically. Over to you, Amit.
All right, fantastic. So you're all going to get, a very, very good demo into some of this today. And the statistics class is very much a part of the course, Muniba. Good question. Without those strong fundamentals in statistics, it is not possible to move ahead in data science or move ahead to machine learning. So we're covering all of that. And does it cover all the analytical and machine learning techniques like Bayes? So Shiva Kumar, great question. That's a very, very good question. So as you can see here, we do cover in machine learning the gradient descent technique. We cover hierarchical clustering and regression using machine learning. Now, all of these techniques out here, linear regression, logistic regression, are loosely called ML techniques in the industry. So when you look at any course in machine learning in Python or R, you will see exactly these techniques here: linear logistic, clustering, decision trees, and you will see over these techniques here as well. So don't go with the terminologies. We are going very much, if you look at it in the pyramid, to understand where you're going to reach with the course. Let me outline this for you very, very clearly. In the period of exactly 2 months, all of you are going to move up all the way from here, right, to here. You're going to move all the way till the beginning of machine learning, right? And all of these techniques, are, I would be modest in saying 95% of the work that you do in analytics will be handled by these techniques. Probably if you get into deep learning and other things in academic sector or PhDs or universities or with really huge data set, 5% would be the advanced, deep learning or involving tools that are big data tools. So this course is really going to take you to a very, very high level of competency. Now, can I know how many of you have never ever written any program in your life? So please say yes and be proud of yourself if you have never done any programming. Please put it in the chat box. Absolutely fantastic, right? So the important thing, Tejasvi, Purvi, Chandan, Shiva, for all of you to understand is that we do not assume any programming background in this program. We start right with installing R and we help you sort of know how to do that, right? And from there, after installation, we actually first of all have a session that helps you understand the R user interface, which is called getting comfortable with R. And then we help you understand the basics of R before we actually move ahead. Now, R is not really, if you ask me, all that complicated a programming language. It's an advanced version of things like SPSS, which we had used in the past, or MATLAB, only that you can write code, right? So it's like a very advanced scientific calculator and nothing to be afraid of. We have helped a lot of people globally, right, learn this. And in this course, just to be very clear, you will find that there's both user interface based tools that we're going to learn, where you do not need programming, of course, like Tableau and Power BI, as well as R, where you'll require some programming, not very difficult, which we will teach you, right? And we have found that even commerce and economic graduates have been able to learn all of this and enjoy it so much that it becomes one of their favorite topics at the end of the course. Again, if you're actually in statistics, if you're worried about the mathematics, we actually help you out on that as well, right? Now, Viral, Gala, definitely there's a sentiment analytics demo coming up in a very short while. So hang around, you'll find that very exciting. And we'll be happy to show you how to do that in the course. It is covered. You can see it over here. It's in social media analytics module, where we will teach you how to connect free of cost to twitter.com, and watch the demo today when we talk about Bitcoins in a short while and Indigo Airlines. And you can even analyze the sentiment of what people are saying about a hotel or an airline using the R sentiment analytics package, which we will demo to you in a very short while. Now, some frequently asked questions, very, very quickly. You do not need to be an engineer to attend analytics programs, right? If you know anything about a domain like finance or HR, sure, it's an advantage. But if you don't, it's not going to prevent you from learning in this program, right? The necessary tools, for this program are R, SAS, Tableau, and Microsoft Power BI. We will install Power BI over the most advanced version of Excel, which is called Office 365 Pro Plus. So we will get you that version of Excel, which is Office 365 Pro Plus, right? And you can install Power BI, the analytics module, on top of that in Excel, okay? So those are the tools that you require for this particular program. Let me see, I've got a question here. Okay. Okay, so Ajay, if you go through this program, you will easily be able to understand. Ajay's question is that, there's a lot of free case studies out there in Microsoft, but not just Microsoft, folks. Ajay, thank you so much for that. I want to point you guys to a couple of places where you can get great data sets. So I don't know how many of you have heard of Kaggle. Can you please say yes in the chat box if you've heard of Kaggle? Yeah? Okay. So for those of you who have not, right, here you go. So this is a superb website where you can get a lot of data sets that you can practice on. Apart from the data sets that we're going to give you, you just need to go on Kaggle and click on data sets and access the data sets that you will easily be able to crack, once you actually go through our program, right? Okay, there you go. So that's your source of data sets, and the Microsoft ones can also be handled. So the first class is free, and your first class is on the 19th of November. So mark that date, folks. It's a 3 hours class on next Sunday, and you have 100% refund for up to 21 days. If you have any challenge with the course, we have a 100% refund across the world on PayPal, and in India on PayUmoney. All right, there we go. So enough talk. Now, how many of you are ready for an actual analytics demo? Yeah. Say yes if you're excited and you guys want to, see a demo, or say no if you want to say good night or good day to us. Okay, superb. You guys are excited. So before I do that, I'm going to, show you what is visual analytics, and it's important to understand. Yeah. Anirban, if you could, just hold that question, or, put it in the chat box. I'll see if I can address it. So folks, here's what is visual analytics, right? Real visual analytics is not about any chart or any pie chart or bar graph or a dashboard, okay? What you see here, for example, is the Cosmos Bank in Taiwan and their risk exposure across the different parts of Taiwan. But guess what? Someone's already done the math behind this, and all you're doing is you're representing this data visually. Now, sure, it helps to represent data visually, but any graph or chart is not visual analytics, okay? It's more than that, right? And so let's talk about that, right now. The course, duration is 2 months, one of you asked, right? And we'll talk about the fees. There's a huge discount for all of you that have joined today, right? So the thing with the chart, folks, is that a chart shows you conclusions in a visual format, but it doesn't show you the thinking behind the conclusions. You cannot ask any further questions. You can't think any further, right? Because the thinking's already taken place somewhere in an Excel sheet or in R or in Python. And the visualizations are just a way of presenting. They're just adding aesthetic value, but they're not adding any different insight. Now, visual analytics is different. In visual analytics, you explore the data visually, you analyze it visually, and collaborate with others when you do that. I'm sure that if you look at breakfast over here on the left-hand side, and you look at breakfast over here on the right-hand side, which one do you like more, left or right? Come on, folks, let's put your responses in the chat box. Yeah? Which one looks tastier, the breakfast on the left or the breakfast on the right? Absolutely right. Right is a lot better. And that's the power of visualization. Now, some of you may like the left, okay? But guess what? Most people vote for the right. And visualizations these days are about simple. If you make it simple, it goes viral. And this one here says 80% of the people on the internet are accessing the internet from their mobile phones. This one here talks about the injuries on a football player. Look at this for 5 seconds. I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, there you go. Can you tell me where were the maximum injuries on the player? The maximum injuries on the player. And all of you said knee, right? Thanks, Tony. Thanks a lot, Sultan, Amit, Muniba, right? And then after that, Muniba also says knee, ankle, and upper leg. But if I ask you the numbers, you don't remember the numbers, but you do remember where the maximum injuries were. And that's the power of visualization, isn't it? That's the entire power of visualization. Now, some of you are awesome. You're saying 300 and 500. Well, 300 is correct. The essential thing about visualization is you have to explore the data visually, not using formulas. And there's an importance to that I'll talk about in a very short while. Okay. Tell me, how many 9s do you see on the screen now? Yeah. Can you count the number of 9s on the screen? I know I'm beginning to really challenge you folks, huh? Whoops, it's really hard to count, isn't it? But now can you count the number of 9s and put it in the chat box, folks? Come on, everyone. Boom, right? So we've got like a ton of responses, and that is the power of visualization, right? Okay, so you're ready to understand why we visualize things. We visualize things in analytics even before we get started on data, because it exploits our visual perception abilities that we have as a human being. It amplifies cognition, which is a nice way of saying it improves our understanding of the data before we even begin to work on that data set. Now, I've got a data set here, and you'll find this really interesting, right? So we've got 4 data sets, number 1, we've got number 2, number 3, and number 4. And we've got a dependent variable, okay? And we've got an independent variable. The independent variable is X, okay, which means X does not depend on Y, and the dependent variable is Y, which means it depends on X. Now, Y could be profit and X could be shipping cost. So your profits may actually depend on your shipping cost, just to take an example. Or Y could be profit and X could be discounts. Your profits depend a lot on your discounts, okay? So these are 4 different sets of shipping cost and profit, shipping cost and profit here, right? So 4 different data sets. If you were to analyze this using basic statistics, which functions would you use? The simplest statistics, right? Which functions would you use? Anyone wants to take a guess, folks? I love bad answers, okay? So all of you can guess, okay? I hear, keep going, folks, yeah? Regression, mean, median, mode, okay? All right. So let me do that for you. Here you go. Okay. So I've got the mean here. As it turns out, the mean of all of these data sets is exactly 9. The variance in X is exactly 11. The mean of Y is 7.50 to 2 decimal places for all 4 data sets. The variance of Y is 4.12. The third place of decimal is negligible. Pretty much the same. The correlation is 0.816 in all cases, which means Y and X seem to be similarly correlated in all 3 of them, up to 3 places of decimal, right? And here's the regression line. So much for statistics, okay? But, and some of you said correlation. Nyamgarel, Gege, thank you so much for that. I'll call you Gege. I hope that's okay, yeah? Okay, but one of you said scatter plot. Okay, Maharishi said scatter plot. Yeah, and let me do that. And the moment you do that, folks, you realize that these are four absolutely different data sets. The first one is a pretty good distribution with a line of best fit, a line that predicts the relationship between y and x. The second one, you can see that y steadily declines as x increases with one outlier, which we either need to explain or we need to ignore why this is the way it is. In the third case, it's a parabola. So y goes up, but then comes back down after some time as x increases. Okay. In the fourth case, it looks like profits got no correlation whatsoever with shipping cost, right? So it looks like y is completely independent of x. No matter what is the value of x, y seems to keep increasing. And there is, of course, one outlier, which is a data set that is different from the rest of the data sets. And we need to either explain the outlier or we need to ignore the outlier. Okay. And what you see here is something designed by Francis Anscombe. It's called the Anscombe's Quartet. Now, Anscombe was a statistician, a French statistician, who designed this data to help human beings understand that, hey, we might think we're really cool at numbers, but the reality is we understand visuals as importantly as numbers. Okay, it's time for your Tableau demo. We've done enough, for us to jump right into Tableau. How many of you have installed Tableau on your computers? I sent the links across. Okay, if you've installed it, say yes. If you have not, say no, and I promise you it's not going to bother me. Okay, if you have not installed it. Perfect. Purvi, thank you so much. Seema, thank you. Okay, thanks a ton. Jessica, all right. And I'd also sent across a data set called the Global Superstore data set. And here we go. I'm going to open the data set now. Right, so as you can see, a fairly decent sized, mid-sized data set. I mean, these days it's a small data set, 51,000 rows of data, talks about customers across the world and products that we've shipped to them using first class same day delivery, the names of the customers, the segment, whether they're a consumer from the home office or the corporate segment. It talks about the city, state, country, postal code, and the market. Now, APAC here means Asia Pacific. EMEA means LATAM means Latin America, right? EU means the EU and US. I don't have to explain that. And EMEA is Europe, Middle East, and Asia, right? So Europe, Middle East, and Africa, right? So these are the regions, okay? And you can see all the different products and the sales, discount, profits that we've made on these products, criticality of the products, right? But you also notice on the second tab that people have actually made some returns as well, okay? On some order IDs. And here are some of the people that are actually involved in the business. So I'm going to open this up for us in Tableau. Now, I just talked about Tableau a while ago. It's the #1 product on visual analytics globally. It is not a data visualization tool alone. Let me be very clear about this. It is actually a very powerful visual analytics tool. In Tableau, on the left-hand side, you have the Excel, Connect to Excel button. But if you click on Connect to Server, right now, you won't see it here, but you will find that Tableau, this is actually the Tableau public version. If you have a different version, you'll realize that Tableau can integrate with everything from SAP HANA all the way to Spark, right? Tableau can integrate with Spark, Tableau can integrate with Amazon, Ruby on Rails, right? All of these, databases, MongoDB, you can integrate Tableau with almost anything, right? And do your visualizations. Today, we'll connect to a humble Excel file. So all of you can actually find the Excel file that I just talked about, which is your data for the class today. Let me go and find this myself here. Just a second. There we go. It's called the Global Superstore data. Okay. The Global Superstore data. How many of you would like this data link to be shared with you right now? I'll ask someone from my team to do that with you. Okay, anyone who would like this data link to be shared, please let me know. Okay, there we go. Don't worry, let's do this, right? Just tell me your email IDs at the end of the class. I'll make sure all of you receive all of this. You don't even have to take the data because you can't work on it right now unless you have Tableau installed, okay? So here we go. I'm going to take the orders from the left-hand side and I'm going to drag it and drop it here on the canvas. There we go. Okay. The moment I drop orders on the canvas, right, Tableau is going to pull out this data. It's actually working on this data right now. and it pulls out this data for me and uploads it on the Tableau interface. Now, what you'll notice here, folks, is it's really, really intuitive. So whenever you see a hash, it means it is numerical data. Whenever you see an ABC, then what kind of data is it? Can you tell me, everybody? Come on, everybody in the chat box. Come on, folks. Yes, absolutely. It's character data, text data. You folks, Tony, everyone, you're absolutely right. It's character data, right? How about this over here? What does this look like? Yeah. Let me just magnify this a little bit, and you're going to pardon my arts. Okay, I wasn't the best in arts. Okay, here we go. What kind of data is this? You're right. So it's date and time, right? It is known as temporal data. If you've heard the word, it's perfectly fine. But if you've not, it's called temporal data. Anything that involves time, right? Okay. How about this over here? There we go. So what kind of data is this? Can you tell me? Right, you've got something like this. Should be nice and easy for you. You're right, so it's geographical data, and some of you rightly mentioned it's known as geospatial data, right? Now notice this, Tableau automatically tells you the data type, okay, and it makes it really easy to change the data types. It's ridiculously easy. Okay, so I'm going to click on the hash, and I'll go down and I'll click on string, and boom, you've converted that into a string, right? So Tableau makes these transformations extremely easy, right? Okay, and even splitting your data is nice and easy. So I'll go and click on this caret here, and I'll click on split. Okay, the moment I do that, boom, I'll split all of my distribution centers. This here is the distribution center, so you can rename this field. We're actually shipping out of this particular distribution center, right? There you go. Right? Tableau makes these operations nice and easy. So not only that, if you take returns, okay, and I'm going to take returns and go and drop it here, and it's nice and easy. The moment I do that, Tableau automatically detects that there's a connection. The market field, APAC, LATAM, is there in both of these tables, right? Nice and easy. Okay, so far so good. And I'm going to now show you how we work in visual analytics by clicking on sheet number 1 over here, okay? And I've got around, let's say 10 minutes. Ujjwal, you would be willing to give me 10 minutes, I hope. Say yes in the chat box before Ujjwal's demo, which is even more exciting than mine. Okay. There we go. So I click on sheet number 1 and understand, how quickly you can go about making analysis if you, use the power of visuals, right? Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to try and understand, folks, which are the geographies or which are the countries where we seem to be making a lot of sales. So if my question is that I've got this whole marketing and sales data set, but I don't actually know, which markets, which segments of products, which categories I'm actually managing to do the maximum sales in, right? And how do you approach this problem using visual analytics? And that's what we're going to do now, right? Here we go. So I'm on sheet 1, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do drag and drops and watch how the story unfolds, right? So I'll take category of products, and I'm going to go and drop it on the rows, and I'm going to take the quantity of the products I sell, and I'm going to drop it on the columns, okay? Now you'll notice they're in different colors, right? Quantity is green and category is blue. Why is it the way it is? It is the way it is because there are two kinds of things in Tableau. It divides the data into measures, which are things you want to measure. For example, discounts, profits, sales, right, shipping cost, and the things that describe your data, which are the dimensions. Now, I'll make this so easy for you that you're going to wonder, right? So let's think of a baby. A baby is born, and the doctor measures certain things when the baby is born. What are the things that the doctor measures about the baby to make sure that the baby is healthy? Put it in the chat box, folks. You got it, right? The height, weight, temperature, and those are measures, right? The things that have desirable values or normal values. Now, there are certain things that describe the baby. Okay, I'm not talking about height, weight, temperature, blood pressure. I'm talking about things that describe the baby, how the baby looks, okay? There are no desirable values, but everyone talks about it. Mothers talk about it, grandmothers, dads, right? They adore the baby by describing the baby. Can you tell me certain things about the baby that describes the baby, Okay, and Tony, you're absolutely right. The color of the eyes, the color of the baby, the nose, the hair, the gender of the baby, there's no desirable value to those things. There's no desirable value to gender, certainly not to hair, certainly not to the color of skin in this world today, right? So those things are known as dimensions that describe the baby, and the other things are known as measures that you're measuring about the baby. Are you folks now 100% clear about what are dimensions and measures? Is everyone super clear? Yeah, say yes in the chat box before I move ahead. Fantastic. Now, here's the magic, folks. Tableau automatically picked up the dimensions and the measures from this data set. Did you notice that? I didn't have to tell Tableau. Tableau picked it up. Now, is it as magical for all the data sets in this world? Absolutely not. Sometimes Tableau is going to get it wrong. And if that happens, right, M. Taylor is really happy. I'm sorry to break your bubble, M. Taylor. Okay, I don't know your name. I'm so sorry. I just see M. Taylor, so I'm calling you M. Taylor. But if it goes wrong, right, you can always pick up the discount and drop it over here in the dimensions if it's not a measure, right? So you can flip things around. That's not a problem in Tableau. Okay, thanks a lot, Madhvi. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag segments, the market segments, which these products have been actually belong to, and I'm going to drop that to the rows. Okay, and I'm going to drop the market, APAC, LATAM, right? All of that. I'm going to drag the market and see if I can drop that, you know, on the columns, right? So I can just take the market and let me just find it over here and drop that on the columns. Okay, and I get a picture of all the different markets and how the quantity of sales are happening in each one of these different markets. Now, for the simplicity's sake, I'm going to remove returns. I'm just going to focus on, you know, the data for the orders, right? So just give me a second here while we do that. And it will describe even better, okay? And Tony's got a question. Is it safe to say that dimensions are descriptive, qualitative elements and measures are yes, you could definitely say that, right? Okay. All right, here we go. So I'm going to take markets again. Let's just go and find it and see if we can drop market, you know, on the columns, right? Here we go. And I'm going to also drop market onto color because human beings understand color. And the moment you do that, boom, right? You get a view of the sales across the world and the quantity of sales. Can you tell me in which geography are we just beginning our business? Just beginning the business, okay? You got it, right? You can understand so easily, right? Can you tell me which geography is the emerging market for us? Where we seem to be growing, we've started and we seem to be growing. EMEA, absolutely, right? Dharmender, thanks a lot. Shrini, Anirban, Mel, thanks a ton for your responses. Africa. So what I can do is, you know, I can annotate, which is leave a comment on this point and say that, you know, for example, Canada is a starting market. Right, we're starting here right now, and I can annotate Africa and say that it's an emerging market, right? So you can leave your comments and create a data story around this, right? There you go. Sorry for the typo. Okay, here we go. So here we're building a data story around this, and Tableau's got a presentation mode full screen, so you don't have to actually go to PowerPoint, okay? Now we'll do something more interesting. I'm going to rename this sheet emerging markets, and I'm going to open a new sheet. Watch what I'm doing. I haven't actually worked, folks, on any formulas so far, but as I right click this visualization, click on view data, okay, I get the entire data for this visualization, and I can copy this data and I can go and paste this in Excel. So do not believe that it is only visualizations. It's actually visualizations with databases being created in the background as you work on the visuals. Calculations being done automatically in Tableau in the background. Now, isn't that really, really powerful? Yeah. Yes, Karkar, I just, you know, exported the visual. Oh yes, you can export the visualization as well. So you can right click and you have save image. It's not there in Tableau public, but it is there in the full trial, in the full version. You can export the images as well. But the idea is you present either here in Tableau or you publish it on the internet on the cloud using the Tableau server. Okay. All right, fantastic. I can see you guys are beginning to like Tableau here. Yeah. I'm going to move to my next visualization. I want to see how sales is doing across the world. So I click on something on the top right corner that says show me, and there's a lot of graphs, but they're all actually grayed out, which is pretty sad, right? I can't use them. What happens when I click on sales? I click on country. Now all of you can see what just happened, right? All of you. So what just happened was that across the world, I can see that these are the visualizations that Tableau recommends, right? This one's called bubble graphs. This one's called tree maps, bar graphs, but it seems to recommend this particular one over here, okay? And this particular one, I'm going to double click on. It's the world map. And the moment I do that, boom, right? I've got the sales in all the countries. The US is $2.2 million. Australia is $925,000, a little less than $1 million. I can work the size a little bit. Wouldn't it be great if I could see, in the US, how we're doing in all the different states? So what I'm going to do is I'll drag state from the dimensions and drop it on the Pacific Ocean, as simple as that, okay? The moment I do that, boom, right, there you go. So you get to see how you're doing in each and every state, but it's not just about the sales. It's also about the profits, isn't it? How hard could that be? Okay, so I'll take profits from the measures and I'll drop it on color. And immediately orange denotes losses. So I realized Texas wasn't as great as I thought it was, but California's super cool, and New York, Seattle, Washington, where Microsoft and Amazon are based. Definitely a lot of sales in the United Kingdom, and Australia seems to be doing well, except for the capital and New Zealand, we've got losses, right? So totally different picture. To make this intuitive, I'm going to click on color, edit the colors, and I'll make sure that I use green for profits and I use red for losses. Just step up the color to 6 and use the full color range here, right? And I get a nice picture. I can zoom in into any of the states like the United States. Okay, there we go. And I'll zoom into any of the countries, pardon me. And I can look at what's going on for that particular country, and I can zoom out, come back out again, right? Not only this, I can add a filter. So I could add a filter for the subcategory by right-clicking and adding that filter. And I could convert this filter into a single value list, go to maximum mode, and boom. So now you have, folks, here 100% responsive visualization. So when I click on chairs, here's what's happening in chairs. You can see a lot of losses. Envelopes, profitable across the US, including Texas. Machines, losses in Florida, losses in Italy, right? In Australia as well. Phones, okay? Don't you think this is an awesome way to explore and analyze your data, folks? How many of you really like, Tableau and the capabilities, including the auto recommendation of charts that you see here? Yeah? If you're excited, I'm going to show you one more predictive analytics tool in Tableau. If you would like to see R, I'm going to move to R. So how many of you would like to see predictive in Tableau, and how many of you can say yes, so that I can show you that right away before we move to R? Okay, so you want to see it. Fantastic. I'm going to show you. Okay, some of you voted R, so I'll make it fast. Okay, here we go for all of you. What we're going to do is we're going to find out why profits are not happening in some of the regions. What could be impacting profit? If my hypothesis is that, and hypothesis I mean assumption, is that shipping cost is impacting profit, let me show you how we solve that. Before that, I'll rename this sheet as global sales and profits. I'm going to move fast on the last bit here because I'm conscious of time. So what I'm going to do here, folks, is that I'm going to take shipping cost and drop it on the column to see if shipping cost is impacting profits, right? I'm going to take profit and I'm going to drop it on the rows, okay? So here we go, shipping cost, and I get a single scatter plot chart here, right? Now I'm going to bring market into the picture by dropping it on top of shape, right? So let's look at all the markets that we're in, and I'll drop that on top of shape over here. Now each shape represents one market. So square represents APAC, the star represents EU, right? Now what I'm going to do here is I'll bring category of products into the picture by dropping it on top of color, okay? Now for each shape, I have 3 categories, so I have 3 colors, right? There's a red square, that is technology in APAC. There's the blue square, which is furniture in APAC, and there's the orange square, which is actually office supplies in APAC. And likewise for the rest of these, right? Okay, I'm going to break this down to each and every customer. So I'm going to take the customer ID and view the details of every customer by dropping it on detail. And it becomes a huge mess, right? All I can see is blue in the center. This line here denotes the line of profitability. Okay, so the line right here talks about profitability. Anything that's below this line is not profitable. Okay, and there's a huge number of transactions that are not profitable. Anything that's above this line, folks, is actually really, really profitable. Okay, now you got that, but I need to actually see this better. I can only see a big cluster of data. Sure, I can see there's a lot of red triangles which are profitable. So clearly technology in the US is profitable. There's a lot of stuff that is blue in color that is not profitable. So I'm beginning to think that furniture is not very profitable. But I'm going to disaggregate this data, okay? And I'm going to go to analysis and click on disaggregate, which means that it's going to show you each and every row in the Excel sheet that you just saw a short while ago, okay? Each and every row is being represented by 1 point on this particular graph. And now I will go to the analytics tab and I'm going to draw a linear regression trend line, right? I take the trend line, I drop it on linear and boom, right? I get 3 trend lines with the equation. Profit is equal to, the blue line is furniture, profit is equal to 0.74 multiplied by shipping cost plus negative minus 4.4. Now don't understand this today. We'll explain this during the course. The important thing is that the R square value is very low. R square tells us how strong the correlation is between profit and shipping cost. It's the coefficient of determination. How strongly is profit determined by shipping cost? And it's really low, at least for furniture. It's a little higher when it comes to the red line, which is technology, and even higher for office supplies, right? So the correlations are higher for, the ones above. But what you can see is that, furniture, the profits are being dragged down by shipping cost more than office supplies and technology. So you're beginning to understand and predict how shipping cost impacts profit. And this is known as a univariate analysis. One variable, shipping cost, and how it's impacting one independent variable, shipping cost, and how it's impacting a dependent variable, which is profit. What you just learned today, okay, and I'm just going to put this out in the equation, and I showed you profit is equal to a number multiplied by shipping cost, which was X, okay, and let me not call it X, let me just rub this here. So I'm just going to call it shipping cost, S plus C. And all of us know this more popular as Y is equal to, and can you complete this? All of us learned this in college, right? All of us learned this in college, in school. Y is equal to what? Please complete it. You are right. MX plus C, AX plus B, you are right. All of those are correct, right? Thank you so much, Gabby. Dharmender, thank you so much. C_MPATAN, I don't know your name. I'm so sorry. Please tell me your name. Okay, here we go. So Y is equal to MX plus C. And this is the linear regression trend line. When you have many variables instead of X, suppose you have M1 X1 plus M2 X2, okay, plus M3 X3. This is known as multivariate, univariate and bivariate or multivariate, right? Regression. All right, thank you so much. I hope you liked the Tableau demo. It's now over to Ujjwal for a super exciting demo on R that you're all going to learn. And you can consolidate data into Tableau by a question from Chandra, how do you consolidate data into Tableau? So you can, thank you, Dharmender, for that fantastic comment. Dharmender says fantastic demo. Okay, I'm really, really happy about that. I hope you liked it. And I hope the rest of you liked it though. Now, Chandan says, how do you consolidate data in Tableau? You can import data from multiple data sources and create your own version, which you can work on, Dharmender, and we'll show you that in the program, right? It'll be hard today. Okay, so it's 9:11. We've got 15 minutes. I'm handing it over directly to Ujjwal for the R demo and showing you R. How many of you are okay to extend by just 10 minutes, folks? Okay, Please say yes in the chat box if you can give us just 10 minutes more. Yeah. Okay, let me just see if I can get Ujjwal and make him the presenter here. Okay. Okay, here we go. Ujjwal, you're the host now.
Thanks a lot, Amit. Let me just quickly share my screen. Okay, so I hope all of you are able to see my screen, and if yes, can you just please type a yes into the chat box? Perfect. Guys, before I really run into the demo, what you're seeing on my screen right now is an R environment, or we call it as an R studio environment, which is more of a graphical user interface for people who are not really used to working on consoles. Okay, so this is like an easy environment to work on, and I'll quickly tell you what these windows really look like. So uh, apologies guys, just give me 1 second. All right, so yeah, back on it again. So what I was trying to say is what you're getting to see over here is an RStudio screen. You can clearly see 4 windows out here. So on my top left, what you're seeing is a scripting screen where you really write your code. Okay, on my bottom left is what you're seeing is the console screen, wherein whatever you have written in the scripting screen, whatever you'll submit over here will get submitted on the console screen and it will execute here. What you're seeing on the top right is the environment window, wherein all the variables which you define in your R environment will get registered here, and you can see all of them at one go. And on my bottom right, what you're seeing is rest of all the things like plots or packages or any help kind of a thing which you need. So any plots or graphs which I'll make over here will come under the plots tab. Packages are nothing but predefined libraries for R, which you can see. So I have all these libraries already available in my environment. What you also get to see is help. So any sort of help which you need, you can just type in the topic and the help will come out. And any sort of interactive graphs generally come under the viewer tab. So that's primarily you know oh, I feel that a few of you have lost the video. Is it good now, guys? Are you able to hear me well? Yeah, perfect. All right. uh, did any of you miss anything about the 4 screens which I talk about? You want me to repeat about any of these right now? No? Perfect, great. All right.
So I just wanted to add for all the learners that are seeing R for the first time that please do not worry. While this particular program may seem a little complicated, when we will start with 2 plus 2 equal to 4, and we can even show you that today. So don't worry, if you haven't programmed before, you will be able to do it.
Thanks a lot, Amit, for that. And yeah, I was just about to mention it. I know it might seem like a very long code and a very complicated one, but trust me, once you'll attend the lecture on text mining, which we'll be taking you through during the period of the course, you'll might feel that this was just a cakewalk. All right, so that's how it's going to be. By the way, the demo which I'm just going to take you through right now really belongs to one of the very practical applications in the industry. Uh, how many of you really give feedbacks or comments on the products which you buy or on various websites? Can you just say a yes into the chat box if you really do? Yes, only Dharmendra, Arul, and Mo Sultan. Okay, Mel. All right, absolutely, guys. So now assume a scenario wherein a company is in a process of collecting feedbacks from its customers, and they want to understand that what they really liked about the product or what they really didn't like about the product. Yeah. So of all the customers who have given the feedback, let's say there were 10,000 customers for which they picked up the text data. The feedback which you give is generally the free text, right? Now, can you tell me how much time will it really take for the company to go through all those 10,000 feedbacks and come up with, the specific things which the customers really like or didn't like? How much time do you think they will take? Too much, right? Okay, Samriddhi is saying minutes, but I think, most of you will feel that 10,000, feedbacks, probably a lot of time, but what we are going to see right now is just an application of text mining wherein a lot of feedback can just be consolidated into a single visual and you can understand what's going on. Okay, so what I'll try and do right now is try and understand what people really talk about when they talk about bitcoins. How many of you really know what bitcoins are? Anybody has any idea? You have heard about bitcoins? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So thanks a lot, Rafi, for that. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. Okay, it's a digital currency which is now very popular across the world. People use it to pay a lot of things. I think recently, if I've heard, a country like Japan has really legalized it. All right. So how do we know that what people are really talking about when it comes to Bitcoin? And in order to take that information out, I'm really going to Twitter. Twitter is one of the places or one of the websites where a lot of people tweet every day. All right, and that's what I'm going to make use of. So what I'm going to do is I will extract some 500 tweets which people have written on Bitcoins. Okay, so as you can see that there is a red symbol which is coming up, and what really happening is that my system is currently extracting 500 tweets from Twitter website. Okay, so let's just wait for the extraction piece to happen. Okay, so the extraction has happened. Now what I'll do is I'll just clean my tweets a little bit. So I've run a small code wherein all the cleaning is happening. And guys, just reiterating, don't worry about this code. This is very, very simple. And the next which I'm going to do is I'm just going to summarize all these tweets into a very nice visual. So guys, just hold on tight. I believe that the visual is just coming up. It's still not complete. Ouch. Okay. Guys, I would just take another minute to start this session again. I believe my R has said that it has got a lot of Bitcoins. It just needs a little bit time to accumulate it. So let me just run the whole thing again. So I'm just running a few codes, setting up the environment to make sure that my R environment really talks to Twitter. So I'm again going to extract 500 tweets from Twitter.
And while Ujjwal does that, it would be very interesting for all of you to know that you have free access to Twitter, and we will show you how to connect free of cost to the Twitter API in this program. And you will be able to, pull out comments on anything on an ongoing basis, starting from Donald Trump to the Indigo Airlines. You'll be able to put together the word cloud that Ujjwal had just demonstrated to you a short while ago, as well as look at the sentiment that people have around that word cloud. So we will show you the sentiment also in a very short while. Now here's the word cloud, and Ujjwal will talk about it.
So guys, here we go. And as I was mentioning, we extracted 500 tweets. Okay, and everything which was mentioned on those 500 tweets, the majority of it is what you can see on this word cloud. Okay, so when I say a word cloud is nothing but a mixture of comments. It's a mixture of words where the size of the word represents that what is the frequency of that word occurring into the tweets. Okay, and as in the bigger the size, more the frequency of the word coming in. So as you can see, a lot of people are saying that it's a cryptocurrency, right? At the same time, you'll also see words like Ethereum coming up. Do you know what Ethereum is, guys? Anybody knows what Ethereum is? No? Guys, Ethereum is just another form of cryptocurrency. Yes, it's just another cryptocurrency. So while people are tweeting about Bitcoins, they're also tweeting about Ethereum, which is, I think, the second most important cryptocurrency which is being traded around the world. The way you represent Bitcoins is using this symbol, that's BTC, and that's how this is coming out very prominent. Similarly, people are also talking about alternate coins. I'm not sure if all of you are aware or not, but there is a fork which is about to come up in the space of Bitcoins. That's going to be somewhere around 14th or 15th of November. How many of you are aware of that? Yeah. If you're not yet, then yes, there is a fork coming up wherein the Bitcoin will get split into two coins, and one of the coins will be called as alternate coin, and that's what is being mentioned over here, so you can see that a lot of information like this is really coming out, and that's around 500 tweets, guys, around 500 tweets. So you just don't have to go through all those 500 tweets at once. It's just all consolidated at one place. And now what are people's sentiments about it? How do people feel about it? And let's understand what kind of sentiments people do really have about Bitcoins. So let me just quickly do that. So I'm again running a very short piece of code, guys. Don't worry, this is not going to be a very difficult code when we will teach it around. And here it is. Wow. So guys, as you can see, that we have classified the sentiments into multiple types of sentiments. So like you have anger, anticipation, disgust, fear, joy, negative sentiment, positive sentiment, sadness, surprise, or trust. And as you can see that there is a huge sentiment, a huge positive sentiment on Bitcoins right now in the market, right? Why do you think it could be? you know it could be purely because Bitcoin has just crossed a $7,000 mark and people are still expecting it to go beyond. What about the anticipation, guys? The anticipation is there in front, and it's purely because a fork is coming up. There is an anticipation that what might happen. Will the prices go down? Will the prices go up? So this is how you can really go ahead and analyze all set of texts which are available with you by a click of a button, right? So I can see a few questions out there. Justin is asking, what does the color represents? Justin, if I'll talk about the word cloud, which I just showed, again, color and the frequency of the word, coming up are kind of correlated. So the blue ones are the ones where you have the maximum frequency. So in case you're not able to understand which is a bigger word and which is a smaller one, you can really look at the color and identify, okay, fine, these are the big ones, and that's where your visualization comes in play. uh, okay, how is sentiment identified? Arul, that's a wonderful question. So basically what happens is, if I'm saying, let's say I'm really happy on giving this training, so what do you think my sentiment is? Arul, what do you think my sentiment is? I'm happy, I'm positive, right? And how did you identify that? You identified it using the word happy, right? Exactly what R is doing right now. R is looking at all the tweets and identifying the words which are either positive or have an angry kind of a connotation. Okay, and using those words, it is just showing you that how many words are really showcasing a positive sentiment, how many words are really showcasing an angry sentiment, things like these. Arul, I hope I answered your question. Yeah. And I think there was another question out there. Karkar was asking that I want to know how did you build your script for getting all these? Karkar, it is all about practice. I think most of the steps which I have mentioned or I have written in there kind of stay as is, whether you do the analysis on any data. The only change which happens is in terms of extracting the data. So for example, when it comes to Twitter, we use Twitter API to extract the data. There is a possibility that you might have to write certain code for web scraping also. So the data extraction piece primarily changes, but the data cleaning kind of steps, or this word cloud kind of steps, they kind of relate, remains stagnant. They kind of remain the same. Okay. All right. Sultan is asking, does R have a library for these sentiments? Yes, Sultan, there is a very popular library with the name TM. That's the library which we use to do most of it. Then there is a question from Tony, that's, so the R package responsible for identifying sentiment is looking for certain words in relation to some predefined sentiments. Absolutely, Tony, that's how it is. You're right. Great. So guys, this was around the short and sweet demo on R, and how you can really analyze unstructured data. Okay, back to you, Amit. Back to you. I'll just stop sharing my screen and I'll just pass on the control back to Amit.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. And let me see if I can share my desktop. So can all of you see my screen now? And I'm going to open up the website. So equiscale.com, we have a pleasant surprise for you. We're going to take your feedback. In the feedback form, we will have the email ID and the mobile numbers that you can share with us. Please understand that I was a vice president with Citibank. I take data privacy very, very seriously. So your mobile numbers, email, and your name are safe with us, super safe. And we're going to make sure we invite you to the next class, which is on the 19th of November, where you will actually work on live data, right? And make sure that you get the videos, the presentation, and the data for today's session. Everything will be shared with you in the feedback form that I give you right now. Will have your email ID and mobile numbers. Even if you have good feedback, bad feedback, I need it. I also need to know how I can make these sessions interesting for you. Even if you'd like to see more things in the course, okay, than what you see today, let us know. We will try our best to include them in the course, or at least introduce them in the course. Now, the interesting thing is that we have slashed the prices, right? So the course is 21,900 rupees, Indian rupees, okay? And those of you that are international, you would have noticed that the course is 289 US dollars. So let me open up the international page as well, okay? And that's discounted. So the course is actually worth a lot more, but it's been discounted to $289 as on date today. So while it opens up, I want to announce your special discounts. For those who have joined the webinar today, your seriousness in learning analytics is appreciated. I want to share that we all change a cell phone every year or every 2 years. My request to you is, please do not change your cell phone. Please learn analytics. It's a much better investment for you than changing a cell phone. Instead of making Apple richer, please make yourself richer. Okay, that's my request to you, right? So I'm going to make sure that we extend a discount, and here are the discounts that I'm announcing now. All of you will get the link at your email ID. For the course, which is 18,900 rupees, if you click on the button enroll now, if you're in India, okay, and I'll share the process for US as well. You may use the course code, okay, apply coupon. You may click there and you may type NY1000 and apply the coupon for 1,000 Indian rupees off on this particular course. If you're based out of Bangalore, the Silicon Valley of Asia, Okay, there you go. And if you're actually based out of Sacramento, or if you're based out of California, the Middle East, or the US, for Indians now, here you can hit this checkout button and claim your discount right away. The coupon code is NY1000. You can make that note. And if you're based out of an international location, we're going to give you $20 off on the pricing of $289 for this wonderful 16 class course of 48 hours with a capstone project on live German credit card data, okay, or an HR analytics capstone project. Not only have we provided job assistance for those of you that are looking for transitioning of a career, please do make sure you read Quora.com feedback, from my learners, and you will see that a lot of them on Quora and Facebook have actually got not just assistance, but they've actually got jobs, okay? So they're working in R, they're working as data scientists, right? Now let me share the feedback form. So Alka, could you please share the feedback form with everybody? And for the folks in the US, you will receive your discounted link. So instead of $289, which you can see on the screen, the course is worth $399, folks. Now it's discounted to $289 today. But for all of you across the world that joined this webinar, it's going to be flat $20 off. So it's going to be $269 US. You have a 100% returns policy for any reason whatsoever. If you've got a problem, we refund the entire amount for 21 days from the day that you make the payment. Be confident, take this, join the course, and we ensure that we will give you the best learning experience for all of you. Now, Alka has just shared the feedback form. I'm clicking on this feedback form to show you the feedback form. In this, I've got your email, your name, your mobile number. Please make sure that you understand that your data is super important to me. And your next class is on the 19th of November. All of you will get invited for the class on Sunday, the 19th of November. Please fill up the feedback form with your name, email ID, and mobile or WhatsApp number. And I would love to know how strongly you recommend this webinar on a scale of 1 to 5, how satisfied you were with the trainers, the codes we ran today, the presentations, and how would you like us to improve not just the webinar, but also the course. What else would you like to learn in this course? I assure you that we will, address your feedback and make sure that the course at least touches upon what it is that you would like to learn from us, right? Now, can you all start filling this feedback form now and say yes in the chat box once you're done? Simple questions. And I will look at the number of responses here. Right now, I don't have a response. So there's 34 people. So I would like all 34 of you to do this. It is 100% possible for you to learn this course online. Okay, so Mel, it is possible to learn this course online. The moment you make the payment, you'll receive the LMS with the access to all the recordings, okay, all the data, all the presentations, okay. You will also get support. You may write an email to contact@equiskill.com at any time, with your queries on support. We ensure that we reply within 24 business hours, okay. That's the SLA. For any query that you've got across the world, in 24 business hours, we reply, and we ensure the resolution, okay, in 48 business hours, okay. Now, sometimes it takes a while to research an issue and get back to you, right? So we just want to do that. 2 of you have already given your feedback. Thank you so much. I've got 32 more people that are filling up the feedback form right now. And I have one final request for you. So Arul Raj has said done in the chat box. Arul, thank you so much for your feedback. It is truly valuable to us. We will try to make sure that we make this even better for you. Thank you, Dharmendra, for your feedback. How about everybody else? Can you please say done in the chat box? Okay. In the meanwhile, those who have given the feedback, you may have realized that we are rated 4.9 out of 5 on Facebook. You want to click on all the feedbacks. Please read all the feedbacks from our learners. Connect with them on Facebook. They're delightful people, right? And you will love their feedback. You love connecting with them and hearing how they felt about this course. For me, what is most important is the relationship with all of you. This course is live. It is also recorded, and I want to make sure that we stay in touch. I will make sure that the batch connects with each other, so you have a network of people across the world that are interested in analytics that you can depend upon, right, for anything that you need in the world of analytics, right? Okay, so let's have a look at the feedback form. I've got 4 responses. Let me just refresh this. Folks, I need all of you to please give your feedback. Okay, I've got 5 now. I know some of you are filling it up. And while you do that, here's the Facebook page link. I have one request. If you enjoyed the presentation, and Shini is thanking me and Ujjwal for the great presentation. Thank you so much, Shini, for your feedback. If you enjoyed it, please click on Facebook link that I've just provided and rate us 5 on Facebook with your comments. It will mean a lot to us. We're not funded. We actually do what we do for the love of the learners and to give the maximum learning to our learners, right, and benefit in the process as well, right? Okay, so here we go. So please do like our page, right, and we will be really excited to hear from you on our Facebook page as well. Okay. All right, there we go. So Viral is asking a question. Is there another webinar on the 19th? Viral, it is a live class. Okay. So on the 19th, if you want to come to the class, you want to download the data, you want to install, the softwares, which we will mention to you. Okay. We'll probably go with Tableau for the very first class and do some advanced analytics on Tableau. And it's going to be an actual class. It's not a webinar. Okay. So we've got 15 feedbacks. For the rest of you, please share your feedbacks with us. I'm sure you're in the process. I need all the feedbacks. So one of the things we insist on, and thanks Wasim for submitting your feedbacks, is that good or bad, your feedback is the only way that we're going to, get better, okay, at what we're doing, right? So Mel says not receiving the link. Just give me a second here. I'm going to pull out this link and share it with Mel. Here we go. Okay. There we go. So Mel. Let me just share this feedback link across with you. Just give me a second here. Okay, so what date or time will be holding the classes? Yes, so Saturdays and Sundays. Sometimes it will be only Saturday or only Sunday, but mostly every weekend, 7:30 to 10:30 p.m. India time. Every class is recorded, okay? So do not worry about that, right? And Tony, the cost of the course is actually worth US dollars $399, okay? But we are going to give you a discount, and we're going to give it to you for only USD 269, all right? And this includes a 21-day refund policy on PayPal, right, for any challenges that you might be facing. So just be very comfortable with your decision to move ahead, Tony. Howard, it is 289, but for the folks that have joined today's class, I'm actually cutting a US dollars 20 discount, okay, because I know you're serious about analytics and I want to make this worth your time, okay? Does that work, Tony? Does that work, Howard? Thanks a lot, Howard. I'll make sure that I get, okay. All right, fantastic. And if some of you, have not filled the feedback form yet, but you would sort of like me to sort of share the discount link across with you, okay, then please give me your email ID in the chat box. Just send it to me as a private chat. And thanks, Howard, for your note there. It would be great if you could like us on Facebook. That will mean a lot to us. And the next class is also, you're all invited, okay? So please do come. The discount actually lasts only till, and I'll give you the date. So we're going to give you the discounted links on your email ID. It's going to work till Friday, the 17th of November, okay? So please do make sure that you join the course. Or let me make it Saturday, the 18th of November, because some of you may be working on Friday. So your discount link will be valid till the 18th Saturday, November, right? Saturday, the 18th of November. So thanks, Howard, for your link there. I see you're working with, okay, that's great, Howard. Thanks, Vivian Elam, right? So Vivian, thank you, Karkar. I don't know your name, but Okay, you could probably send me privately your name as well, right? So Rizal, thank you so much for your comment. Hi, but can you also share your questions, if any? Okay, so I'm going to throw this open for questions, okay? Right, so any questions you have, about yourself, how you could benefit from the course, right? Okay, so Tony, Tony's got a great question. So we've got 16 classes, Tony, of 3 hours each, right? So let me go ahead and open the course page for you. Here we go. Right, and this is the best way to sort of is go to this course page. So we've got 16 classes of 3 hours each, and it will be total 51 hours, right? So it will actually go up from 51, right? So 17 into 351, it'll be 17 classes, yeah, because we've also included machine learning. So we've gone up from 48 hours to 51 hours. So 51 hours of classes live, 10 hours that you will work on a capstone project of German credit card data or HR data. You can choose HR or banking. You can also choose marketing. We're adding that specialization for this batch. You will learn R, you will learn Power BI, Tableau, SQL, right? All in this program. We will certify you. That certification will be visible on LinkedIn. And these are the details of all the techniques that you're going to cover in this program, right? So I hope that helps, Tony. So 51 hours is the live classes, Wasim, and 10 hours is the project which you have to do yourself. Okay. Okay. So Tony, the cost that I've mentioned is for the entire course. Okay. So it's not for only the class on the 19th. It is the cost of the entire course for all of you that have joined today's webinar is only USD 269, down from USD 399, right? So it's a significant discount that I'm cutting because I'm looking forward to folks. As of now, we've got learners from the UAE. So we've got learners from Dubai. We've got learners in this batch from the US. In the last batch, we had a lot of folks from UK. Today, I think I've got a lot of folks from the US and India, which is typical because I think that's where the IT and entire analytics boom is happening, right? Okay. Okay, so is it the same discount code for the US-based folks for the, so Mel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you the link. Okay, so can I get your email ID? So for the US folks, I'm going to send you a secure PayPal link. Okay, so we'll create a PayPal link. It's an invoice and you can go ahead and pay that invoice. Okay, so all I need is your email ID if you're anywhere in the world except India. Okay. We have placed a lot of freshers, right? So Karthik has a question that, is it only for experienced people or for freshers? So if you look at the feedback, right, you'll see a feedback from this gentleman here called Aru Mugam, and he's a fresher. And he's now working for a company called Agile. He's a data scientist. He joined us in the last batch, and he has already got placed as a data scientist. Okay, so he was a fresher in computer engineering. Okay, okay. Okay, thanks a ton, Mel, for your email ID. I would also need your name for the PayPal invoice. Okay, so I hope if I could just get your name, I will also enter the name in your PayPal invoice, Mel. Right? Okay, and Tony, I hope I have your email ID and your name as well, so I can send you the link for the US payment on PayPal. Okay. All right. So Melodine, thanks a ton. Right, thank you so much for sharing your name. And M Taylor, yes, so M Taylor, I think you'd shared your name with me. Could you just do that again and your email ID as well, please? Yeah, okay, Madhvi, yes. So if I could please get your email ID, and Jessica, I'll make sure I share the US discounted link with you as well. It'll be a pleasure to have you with us in the course. Okay, and Arul Raj says, how is it different from data science using R and Tableau? So that's a great question. Okay, that's a great question. So stick around, folks. I'm going to show you something really important. Okay, here we go. There's a course called data science using R, and in that course we actually do not cover Power BI at all. Okay, so you will miss Power BI in that course. Why is Power BI important? Here's why Power BI is important. This here, folks, is the Chicago narcotics consumption data in the year 2011. The only tool in the world where you can analyze this data visually by using video analytics is Power BI. And here you go. Now you can see in Chicago that this is the primary cluster where the consumption of drugs is happening. This is the secondary cluster. This is the tertiary cluster on the lakeside in Chicago. And this is the outlier in the data set. Not only that, you can see the cumulative consumption go up and down. Okay, boom, here you go, right? This is the entire year worth of consumption of narcotics data and the arrests that were made in Chicago, live data in the year 2011. So the only tool where you notice this, that there's flickering going on, right, in the consumption pattern at a particular location, and I'll show you that location now over here. This tool is MSBI, okay, which is also called Power BI. So in the accelerator, you also learn Power BI, super strong tool, okay. You can handle 97 million rows of data, okay, in just Power Pivot. Okay, you heard me right. I'm not saying 97,000. I'm saying 97 million rows of data by using the Power Pivot add-in called Power Pivot, right? Here you go. This is the Power Pivot. You can create databases in the 64-bit version of Excel. You can even do machine learning in Excel. You would miss this if you don't join the Analytics Accelerator certification and you only join data science using R and Tableau. So A, you miss Power BI. B, you will miss SQL, because in that course, we do not cover SQL. SQL is super important for your descriptive analytics in order for you to be able to run queries. It's also very important and frequently asked in interviews. And without this, really, you won't move ahead. Even the big data tool, if you've heard of a big data tool called Hive. How many of you may have heard of Hive? Okay, there you go. Folks, Hive is nothing but, a big data way of doing SQL. It's a querying, tool, very similar in many ways to SQL. So we cover SQL also in this course, okay? You'll be amazed at the number of things that you're going to learn, right? Okay, so Karkar says, what about DAX? So do you mean to say, what about Germany? Okay, so Germans are most welcome to join the course, right? So you will be paying in USD. So Karkar, I don't know what you might have meant by what about DAX? Okay, all right. So Madhvi, I got your email ID. Thank you so much. Madhvi, if I could also get your WhatsApp number, I'll reach out to you and explain the course in details to you on a WhatsApp call, right? If any of you want to share the WhatsApp number, if you're outside, Okay, so Samrid has a question, right? Okay, Samrid's question is, what about Hadoop? Okay, so Samrid, the most important thing is first, you need to learn analytics, okay? When you learn all three of these analytical techniques, okay, please do not be enamored by any tool, right? Hadoop is nothing but a tool that was used very popularly to work on big data, okay? Now, what is big data? You can say roughly data in the order of GBs, right? Gigabytes is big data, okay? Today, Hadoop has been partially displaced by Spark, and Spark has become very popular. These are nothing but tools. These are not analytics, learning methodologies, okay? Do not get caught up in the tools. Focus on the techniques, right? Number one, focus on data science techniques. Focus on domain, focus on business problems and how to solve those business problems. Tools are the easier part. Now understand this, okay? Those of you who want to enter data science, you will be uncomfortable all your life with regards to tools because tools keep changing. It used to be MATLAB, okay, some time ago. It became SPSS, okay, and then after that, okay, it became R, it became Python, it became Spark, and it's going to be something else in the future. It'll keep changing. But if you know the techniques that you see over here in this slide, right, no matter what tools come, these techniques do not change, okay? Right, so I hope that's very clear to you. All right, any other questions, folks? Thank you so much, Madhvi, for sharing your number. I think you're based out of the UK, so that's great. We have learners from Manchester in our course. We have learners from London, so it's great to have you on board as well, Madhvi. We'll be excited about that. Any other questions for Ujjwal or for me? Please go ahead and ask us your questions now, folks. Jessica, do you have a question for us, Tony? Melodyne, anyone has a question? Okay, so I want to thank all of you for having joined the webinar today. Mel says many thanks. Thank you, Melodyne. Thanks a ton. Thanks, Shini. Shini, Power BI, I just showed you briefly the video. The video was done in Power BI, okay? So Power BI can be installed on top of Excel 2000 and Excel 365 Professional Plus Edition, and you can run it inside Excel. Okay, so that the video that you saw is not Excel, it's Power BI. All right, thanks, Shini. Purvi says thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Madhvi. And we're going to close out for the day. And Ujjwal, I'm going to unmute you, so you might want to also say bye-bye to everybody. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys. I hope you liked the session, and really looking forward to see all of you in the sessions, and share as much knowledge as we can with all of you. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot for today's session. Yeah.
Okay, so thanks a lot, Ujjwal, for that. Now, those of you that want to WhatsApp me and ask me further questions, please feel very comfortable to do that. And here's my WhatsApp number. Okay, there we go. So I'm just sharing it across with everybody who wants to just ask any further questions that are specific to you, your career, because I also help you build your resume in this program and add analytics to your resume. Okay, so each one of you will get a complimentary resume review session. I was a vice president of Citibank Advanced Analytics Division, Learning and Development and Human Resources. So I'm more than happy to review it for you. Feel free to chat with me on WhatsApp. I've just shared my number with you. It's also my GSM calling number. I'd be more than happy to speak to you individually about your career and how analytics can make a huge difference to you. It doesn't matter if you want to change your job. It doesn't matter if you want to apply analytics in your current job. I'll make sure that I, sort of advise you on both of those things. Okay. Thanks a ton, and goodbye, everybody. We'll see you on the 19th of November, Sunday, and I'm excited. Bye-bye.